March 31, 1966. The former Soviet Union successfully launched it. The world's first man-made moon satellite. Marks the advanced level of science and technology of the former Soviet Union. Opened a new era in human science. The satellite weighs 245 kilograms. It contains 2 radar transmitters and 4 antennas. The detector, equipped with the most advanced detection and communication equipment. A long flight through the air. The satellite entered the orbit of the moon smoothly. Then it began its filming mission. Every week to the ground control center. Transmit pictures of the moon. One day, suddenly a strange object was spotted. When it gets to the frontal angle, press the shutter. Took a strange set of photos. And then it goes into orbit. As usual, send this set of photos to ground control. Ground crews received satellite images. Then she froze. She turned and hurried to the chief's office. It's on the moon's cratered surface. A World War I bomber sits quietly. The workers were terrified. A meeting was immediately ordered to study the matter. Photo shows. The plane had been damaged in many places by meteorites. But the fuselage is still intact. It bears the distinctive British Air Force logo. It was covered with moss. It sits on the surface of the moon at the edge of a crater. After the prank factor was ruled out, the chief immediately ordered the control desk to send instructions to the Lunar 1 satellite. The next time the satellite passes the same spot on the moon, continue to take lots of pictures to verify the existence of the aircraft. Later, the satellite sent back a lot of pictures. But the plane remained silent on the far side of the moon. Asked the officer, could it have been an American lunar experiment? Director of answer, not likely, if it's an American experiment on the moon. They can't completely hide it from the rest of the world. Then the Soviet Space Agency decided. The matter is a top secret of the state. No one is allowed to mention it again. But during World War I, American spies are everywhere. It took them only a few days to get a copy of the pictures of the plane on the moon. While the United States and the Soviet Union were working on a lunar plane. In 1988, Soviet crews observing the moon suddenly found out. The bomber disappeared suddenly. All the people at the space agency was shocked to hear the news. But there was no sign of the plane in its original position on the moon. A plane on the moon suddenly appeared. And now it's suddenly gone. Has led scientists to speculate. Some people suspect that the satellite had taken pictures before. There are no bombers. But bring me the picture. He was clearly there. 20 years later, the chief space expert of the Soviet Union, Drive, said in an interview, "We still can't explain the time of the moon bomber. We speculate that it was hijacked by aliens. Then the aliens parked him on the far side of the moon. Aliens think we're on Earth. Never see the far side of the moon. But our satellite saw it. As for how were the bombers brought in, no one can tell." NASA said in a statement, "World War I bombers found on the moon. It's completely ridiculous." But Dr. McGerviev countered. Those satellite pictures are completely real. The US military only hides the truth. In 1995, the US Weekly News of the World revealed, American astronomer Alfred Rudin announced his amazing discovery. One day, he is looking at the stars with his electronic telescope. When he looked around Mars, suddenly some unidentified object was spotted. Take a close look. He identified them as 4 planes. The matter aroused wide public discussion. The White House declined to comment.
Oh no!
What does it seem to be hiding? Dr. Grand, famous Swedish scientist. He thinks Dr. Rudin found the planes on Mars, similar to the Soviet bomber found on the Moon, have a lot to do with where they disappeared. That's the Devil's Triangle, Bermuda. These waters are prone to unexplained paranormal phenomena. It has become synonymous with mysterious disappearances. In December 1945, U.S. Navy Air Corps 19th Bomber Group, their 5 Grumman bombers took off from their base in Florida, head for a cruise in the Atlantic. It's a beautiful day. There is nothing unusual in the Atlantic. But when the plane entered the Bermuda Triangle, the plane's communication system suddenly went haywire. Eventually, contact with ground control was lost. Before the plane disappeared, no distress or distress signals were sent. No trace of the crash was left after the disappearance. The weirdest thing is, a giant Mariner seaplane that was immediately dispatched to search and rescue. Instead of finding the previous plane, even he never flew back. Until 2 hours after he disappeared, the Air Force Base unexpectedly received a faint distress call from an unknown location. FT. Calculated by time, this priceless plane should have run out of fuel. And this distress signal didn't report the specific location and coordinates, so that the search and rescue personnel could not start at all. No way out. These 5 planes and the search and rescue plane. It can only be treated as a disaster. And the pilots are permanently removed from the military register. More than 50 years have passed in the blink of an eye. There's been a lot of turnover at the Air Force Base. Many people forget about it, but never thought of it. 50 years later, those planes have turned up far away near Mars, 4 billion kilometers away in mysterious space. Those of you who have seen the telescopic video will notice the planes are arrayed very neatly. It's like a normal mission on Earth. Are they being manipulated? And we can see it clearly. The plane bore a distinctive American insignia. So we decided, these are 1945. The American plane that mysteriously disappeared off Bermuda. For this fact Dr. Rudin found. Many in the scientific community suspected him of fabricating the lie. But Dr. Rudin is adamant. I know there's going to be a lot of criticism. But that doesn't bother me at all. I know exactly what I see. The only regret is, I don't know how the plane got from Earth to Mars. What are they going to do in space? Where are they going? That's the end of the program. Thanks for watching. Looking forward to your subscription. In the future, I will make better works for you. See you next time.